Kombucha.
Root beer one. Wow,
Yeah.
that's delicious. I don't even think I've ever had root beer
No, it's pretty good, man.
or root beer kombucha. I mean,
Yeah.
I've definitely had a root beer.
Yeah, no, I know what you meant. Yeah, the root beer flavor's nice. Got the mushrooms and stuff, dude. Yeah. Well, we're recording, man. KB, thanks for joining me, dude.
Woo! Psyched to be here.
Dude, so stoked to have you, man. Like, I've been, you know, it sounds weird, man, but you were one of the first people I was thinking about, like, when I was going to start this thing. Because, like, one of the big things that I'm trying to spread is just, like, adventure, man. And, like, people that explore and are getting the most out of life, man. And that's, like you to the core, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Live it.
Yeah, dude. So, trying to give a little background, man. So, you're the owner of Strong Water.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got some social media presence out there, and
Yep. So, Strong Water, it's kind of evolved over the years. So, really, I guess kind of going back, it started out as a whitewater kayak shop.
oh yeah,
And whitewater kayaking was surfing in the mountains for me until
Yeah.
I started surfing in the rivers. So I kind of always looked at whitewater kayaking, just kind of how a surfer would look at, going to the beach and going surfing in the ocean.
yeah.
The river was essentially that for me. Kayaking was just the right tool for the job in the river. So it was basically like kayaks for the river, surfboards for the ocean, snowboards for the mountains,
Yeah.
wakeboards for behind the boat.
Yeah.
And when I first moved here to Missoula, I went to the university. I was working for the outdoor program there, and I taught whitewater kayaking there for 4 years.
Dude, cool.
And at that, that was like kind of the early days of whitewater kayaking still, not the earliest, but, it was still like kind of when it was going from like the long boats to the short boards.
Little stubbies, like, right?
Yeah. So like, I was kind of part of that progression as well, but kind of the thing with the sport of whitewater kayaking that I noticed was, teaching it at the university was it wasn't very accessible.
Oh, yeah.
So, like the courses at the university was like 10 students, and that was
Small
once
class.
each semester.
Yeah, super small.
Super small. So, it was just kind of a hard sport to get into. You kind of had to know someone or, get lucky to get in a class. So,
Yeah.
after I graduated, I was working at Edge of the World, which is Board of Missoula.
Yeah, I remember Edge of the World.
And and it was snowboards, skateboards, and whitewater kayaks. So it was kind of like just everything I was into, and it kind of, I came from more of a snowboard, wakeboard background when I got into whitewater kayaking, but whitewater kayaking was sick because, with wakeboarding, it was like, you had to have $100,000 boat, and then if it was somebody else's boat, like the people I was riding with, you had to be dialed, like board in the bag, your own, show up with a 5-gallon gas can, your own rope, your own handles, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
There goes, I unplugged it.
Oh, you did? Oh, I gotcha.
All
There you
right.
go, brother. Yeah, I gotta figure out a better setup for this.
So,
I'll give you a little more length there, man. That'll probably help.
a little slack.
Yeah. I need to get a little longer cord or something, but yeah, so that makes it
So-
tough, right? Because like if you don't have the boat, then you got to bring all the like gas and your gear. So like even a wakeboard too, huh?
So like kayaking was sick. So this friend of mine, he was actually a big one of Burton Snowboard's first pro riders, and
sweet.
the very first time I went kayaking with him, and before we went down the river, he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go surf this wave over there," and that was like the first time, I kind of realized that there was waves in the river. I was like,
Yeah.
"Waves in the river? What are you talking about?" And then, they were like surfing it in their kayaks, and I was like, "Whoa, this is sick!" Like
Dude.
this is like what I've been searching for.
Yeah.
And kind of going back on this whole story has got me going on a tangent here.
Yeah, no,
kind of
man.
like where it all. So my mom's side of the family is from San Diego, and at age 3, I was given a skateboard. My uncle was like a guy that like shaped 2x4s to look like surfboards and screw like metal roller skate wheels to them and
Yeah.
light them on fire and like ride the hills in San Diego. And
Dude.
kind of my earliest memories is like going down there like Christmas time, things like that. And at age 3, I got a skateboard, and was like one of the like original plastic first skateboards or whatever, and I was taught like this is surfing on the street, and I'm like my dad rode it. I remember that Christmas and like wiped out, like broke some ribs and stuff.
Oh,
and,
dude.
But anyway, so like got back. So I grew up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I got back, and you know, it was like surfing on the street, you know.
Yeah, man.
And then one of my best friends growing up, Wes Gordon, his family moved to Coeur d'Alene in second grade, and like his dad had like skateboards, and his dad actually had the first snowboard I'd ever seen.
Oh, really?
And
was it like the One Direction, like the like the tip on the nose?
Oh yeah, it had like the metal
skags
on the bottom of it and stuff.
Oh,
still,
really?
like it was crazy.
Dude.
Yeah, and I don't know. So like anyway, like kind of going. What I'm getting at here is like everything I did my whole life was like kind of trying to capture like surfing, like I guess the culture or the lifestyle or whatever it is in the mountains. Because people are like, why don't you just like move to the ocean? And I'm like, oh, that's a good question. Like I was just like always just trying to find it here.
Yeah, dude. This was this is like your connection was here, right? Not, I mean,
yeah,
you go to the coast, but
yeah, like I mean, I'd like gone to the coast and like been surfing in the ocean, but I didn't really know. I didn't have like a connection to it really. Like I was just kind of like doing it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, like here, you know, snowboarding was. I always looked at like, you know, the way I look at the mountain is like a wave. You know, I'm like looking at it to like surf it.
Yeah.
And you know, the same with like the wakeboarding, wake surfing, and then it was pretty much when like Brennan's Wave was built in Missoula. It made like a perfect looking little ocean wave.
Dude.
And I remember my buddy K-Rob was down there ripping on the wave, like actually surfing it. So I'd like seen people like kind of like break out some surfboards, you know, or whatever. And I'd never seen really anybody like actually surf a river wave. But
you're the first person I ever saw do it.
My buddy K-Rob was like, he was actually surfing it, and I was like, dude, that's it right there, you know. And we started surfing. We did it for years without thinking anything of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, so it wasn't like we just started river surfing and we were like, this is it, you know. It was like, it wasn't even a thing, you know. Like,
that's what I was gonna ask. There's probably a handful of people doing it at that time, right?
So there was one dude I met, the first guy I ever met, like traveling around, like actually like hunting out waves, and you know, the kayakers, you know, knew where the waves were and stuff back then. So
yeah,
you know, I kind of crossed paths with him and like was just like, whoa, you know. So like if I'd like at that time I'd like ridden a surfboard in the river, but it was like I would get, if the wave didn't look just right, I'd get back in my kayak, you know.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was like I had this mentality, you know, best tool for the job kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this dude, Elijah Mack, he was like the first dude I'd like seen like cruising around like state to state, like hunting out, you know, river waves to surf. And it was just like, damn, that's pretty sick. And I forget where we're going with all this.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of taking it in, man. Like, just you know, what I was gonna ask you too is like, you know, like right tool for the job. Did you kind of have to learn how to like ride the wave, like get your? Well, I mean, there wasn't really boards. I mean, like, where'd you get a board to ride a wave? I guess at that point, you weren't shaping any boards yet, right?
No, so like I rode myself and my friend. We rode like, you know, all kinds of different ocean shapes. Like I said, we did this for years without thinking anything of it. And kayaking was like the thing at the time. Like I was doing like traveling around, like doing a kayak circuit, going to all these contests, and kayaking was super progressive at that time because like the you know, like I said, the boats were going from the long to short, and all the like the tricks and all that stuff was kind of being invented, and it was just like a super progressive time in kayaking. So like X Games was starting to come up, and like all these other, like it was getting more coverage, right? and like kayaking was like, they had like slalom kayaking in the Olympics, but they were starting to think about maybe putting freestyle. It was like an exhibition sport in the Olympics.
So
it was just, you know, kind of on the forefront of that in river surfing was like just kind of like if a wave looked just right, you know, like a couple times a year kind of thing, you know. It wasn't like a thing, you know. For years it was like that.
Yeah, because there's only a small window of time to catch a good wave at that point, right?
Yep. And kind of what ushered it in, really. So, like, Strongwater was like the first shop anywhere inland to sell stand-up paddleboards.
Oh, really?
In North America, anywhere.
No way.
And so
that makes sense, because I think that was the first place I ever saw one. Like, I stumbled into your shop to rent a board for the wave, I think, and I was like, dude, like, these look awesome.
The paddleboards, yeah. And like, so like the paddleboard, so, you know, my old business partner Luke and I, we were, you know, pioneers of that as well. So like we were, you know, on the forefront of whitewater kayaking. And then I'll remember, like, we were down in Reno at a whitewater kayak contest down there. And a friend, Dan Gravier, he's the guy, one of the original founders of Board of Missoula, actually.
Oh, really?
He lives in Hood River, but anyway, we crossed paths down in Reno, and he had been over in Hawaii and kind of like tapped into stand-up paddleboards. Almost similar story to how I got into kayaking, but anyway, Dan is like, dude, you got to check these paddleboards out. Like, these would be sick down the river in Montana, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of like, well, okay, yeah, it looks sick, you know, like, you know, like I said, we had kind of ridden surfboards in the river a little bit, selective, but all of a sudden the paddleboard was kind of like blending the kayak and the surfboard in one, you know, so it had some appeal. So anyway, we brought these boards back to Montana, and I'll never forget, like, I was out at the Alberton Gorge where we kayaked and brought the paddleboard out, and my buddy Luke was just like, hey, I'll eat a pine cone if you make it down that rapid, you know, standing on that thing. And I actually stuck it, like, first attempt, and then that kind of, like, sparked it, you know. We're like, whoa, this is pretty sick, you know. We had skills with the paddle from kayaking. And the biggest thing kayaking teaches you is, like, you know, reading the water and all that. So, you know, kind of blending the skills of surfing and kayaking, and we were running the rivers on them just like we did in our kayaks, but now we were doing it on stand-up paddleboards and on surfboards. The waves had to kind of look a certain way, where the paddleboards, they were so kind of like big and whatever that, you know, the way we were surfing like all kinds of different waves, you know, and like little waves. So like when the kayaks were big and long, you could kind of surf like littler or like greener, you know, big greened out kind of waves in the river. Yeah. And then as the kayak shrunk, you kind of went more for like what's called a hole, or, you know, it's kind of more of a foam pile type of a feature. Oh, gotcha. So the paddle boards, all of a sudden we were kind of able to like go back and, you know, ride these features, these waves that we were riding, you know, in the longer kayaks back in the day. And like I said, it was just kind of blending the two sports, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, man. And then
because, like, yeah, surfing's like the same way, right? Like, especially when you're learning, you get a long board, you know, big foamy typically, and you can catch these, like, smaller little, like, roller waves, you know, and just kind of get a fun little ride. And then once you get a little better, you're catching those bigger waves that kind of break a little faster, that little, you know.
A little steeper.
Yeah, a little steeper, yeah. So kind of same thing with the longer kayak and the shorter kayak, kind of? Or?
Yeah, similar to that. Kayaks are a little more like style based too. I mean, surfboards are that way too, but similar, similar but different.
Yeah, I was just trying to have you like dumb it down for me.
Yeah, no, because like kayaks, you know, you got like creek boats for like going off like the waterfalls and down the steep mountain creeks that are kind of more of like a rounder, longer kayak, and then like the freestyle kayaks are gonna be like kind of shortier, stubbier.
Yeah, a little almost like more like rectangle, kind of almost like too, right?
Yeah, a little more blunt shape, things like that.
Yeah, blunt,
Yep.
Yeah, so you're starting to surf a little bit more, but you're doing it kind of like with the paddleboard at this point.
So now we're like pioneering. So we went from like kayaking, dabbling in surfing. Now we're stand-up paddleboarding. Yeah. Now we're doing it all. We kind of got like the Hawaiian waterman mentality is kind of what we've adopted, you know, like just best tool for the job, like, you know, like just loving it, becoming a master of it, like,
Yeah, man.
being able to, like, just connecting to the river, I guess, like being able to stand on the board and go down those rapids, being able to do it in your kayak, being able to do it on, like, whatever, surfboard.
Yeah.
But what happened is, like, the simplicity of surfing took over for me. So, like, kayaking was, like, the kayak, the paddle, PFD, all the layers, dry tops, dry suits, the stuff, layers under that, whatever, it's just, like, tons of gear.
Yeah.
Paddleboards was, like, less gear, but still, you wanted a helmet and a PFD and, dry layer, it was still a lot. And then carrying the board down the bank, just like huge ass board,
Yeah, dude, like cumbersome, man.
Cumbersome,
long.
yeah, that's the word right there.
Yeah, man.
So the simplicity of surfing, it's just a board, and if it's cold, it's a board and a wetsuit.
Yeah, man.
And I just, like, that's basically, I was walking over Higgins Bridge one day. I remember it was President's Day weekend, so it was like in February one year, and I was walking over the bridge, and I was looking. So Brendan's Wave, they basically is like 3 channels, and there was supposed to be 3 waves down there. So
really?
Back in the day, the middle, in like low water, like this time of year, like winter, the middle feature used to work.
Oh,
well,
gotcha.
On this day I didn't even know. I looked down there and was like, oh man, I wish you could. It was kayakable.
Yeah.
But it didn't look like it was surfable, so we just were like, yeah, it's not doable or whatever,
Yeah.
Kayak's the right tool for the job or whatever.
Yeah.
But now I have, like, this simplicity mindset going, so I'm looking down there, I'm like, man, I wish you could just surf that. Voice goes off in my head, hey, you've actually never tried it.
Yeah.
You think you know, but you don't. You've actually never done it, so you don't really know. So
Dude,
went back to the shop, and I got my board and my wetsuit, and my only goal was just to kind of, like, proj out and, like, just kind of, like, feel it out, not have any expectations to, like, shred or rip or whatever, just have fun and just kind of proj out.
Yeah. And proj out, you mean, like, kind of like catch it, right?
Yeah, just kind of, try catching it. I didn't really know what to expect, so basically have no expectations, just go down there and have fun.
Yeah. Dude, that's big though, man, because a lot of people, like, don't have that separation, right? Especially, like, if you've been doing something one way, man, you just, like, that's how you think of it.
Yeah,
like,
we were ripping in our kayaks and whatever we were doing down there, so it was kind of hard because, like, people are watching, whatever. You don't want to go down there. I get that. You don't want to just, like, go down there and flail and suck,
Yeah, I've been there.
So, but I was just like, whatever, I don't care, and I'm just gonna go down, have fun. I like just the idea of just, like, I got my wetsuit and this little board, and I'm just gonna go have fun.
Yeah, dude.
So I kind of tapped in a little bit that session, had enough fun, and went back down there the next day, tapped in a little bit.
Feeling the wave a little bit.
Feeling the wave.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, well, this is sick. Enough to, like, I was like, this is, like, awesome. But then that also, like, inspired me. I was like, look, I'm, like, riding the paddle boards, the kayaks, like, the surfboards. Like, I'm the one doing this. Like, I need to start making the boards for it.
Yeah.
And
design something more, like, river specific too, right?
Like, specific for, like, waves that suck, basically. Yeah. Like, just, like, putting all the knowledge that I had from, all the different years of kayaking and paddleboarding and wakeboarding and snowboarding and skateboard, just everything, really.
Yeah.
River surfing really is kind of a blend of all those things too, as well. It's like I don't know, like, people ask me, like, oh, surfing in the ocean versus surfing in the river. To me, it's just kind of all surfing.
Yeah.
So once you kind of connect with it all is just kind of the same, but at the same time, it's completely different. So
yeah, man, and, like, remind me, because I want to talk to you about, like, just the artwork that goes into it and, like, making a board, but also, like, I was thinking, like, with the surfing all in general, right? Because, I mean, you even surf snow, which I want to talk about that too in a minute. But, like, there's, like, is a different, like you said, it's all flow, right? Like, you get in the ocean, man, and, like, you're catching waves and you get in that flow state, and it's like, I don't know how to describe it, man. It's like no other feeling, and kind of, I've gotten my ass kicked on Brennan's Wave a couple times with a little foamy board, so I'm not really good, but I can kind of tell like the flow, state, I guess. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it's all
Like a mind
feel.
state? Yeah,
Yeah.
feel.
Yep. And I always just, like the surfing, riding the wave part, such a small percentage of it. I always like it starts with respect for the water. So again, whether it's the ocean, the river, whatever, it starts with like respect for that water, and like that's like learning about it, figuring out how it's working, how the waves are working, how the currents are working.
Yeah, man.
Like in the ocean, like is there a rip along the jet? How do you get out to the waves? How is this like how, like what's making these waves? So like all those things are like super important. And the river is the same thing. Like you wanna understand like what's going on like in the environment. So it starts with that, and then people really underestimate the physical fitness of swimming, so like, or of surfing, so like it's all swimming, and like,
dude,
in the river it's single file line, like next man up, but in the ocean the best swimmer gets the wave every time. So like your physical fitness and like ability to swim is huge,
dude.
People underestimate that one big time. But the more you do it, it's like anything. Like I don't know what it is about surfing. Like people really underestimate like how hard it is, and like I don't like today's world too. Like people just want instant gratification, and then they want like they just want it to be easy, and it's not, man. Surfing's like the hardest thing there is, and
yeah, absolutely, man.
that just like led me to like a lot of these river waves, like I've had to like figure that I got like where they are, how to catch them, like all that stuff. And now like the people coming behind me, how they I show them where they are, showed them how to catch it, I showed them how to surf it, I showed them everything, and like man. I didn't have anyone to show me anything.
That's what I was kind of wondering, man, because like even I think I'd surfed the ocean before, like in Honolulu Bay. I think I'd surfed, like real gentle rollers on a foamy. So like my brother took me into your shop and we ran some foam boards from you and got like a
I remember that.
Yeah, man, that was a while ago, and I remember like just being like so pumped, man, and like you gave us a quick little lesson on it, and then you were gonna go surf the next day, and you invited us to come back in the morning or something, and I think I was just passing through, so I didn't like. Me and Caleb both didn't have a chance to come hang with you, but I wish I would have, because like you gave us a little lesson, but man, it's a different beast. Like I missed the damn island the first time swimming up to Brennan's, Yeah. So I ended up downstream and had to do the walk of shame, and then so I went closer to the bridge and jumped in, and then I was able to make the paddle over,
Yeah.
And then man, and those little kids were just ripping, dude, and I just kept like getting thrown out, and kind of like you were saying too, man, like knowing like the eddy, so you're not working so damn hard and getting kicked way down. Like if you make it back to that eddy behind the island there, and then that, man, it's amazing how awesome that is.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the river or the ocean, like you're saying too, like finding that like almost like little rip current to get back out into the waves, man, instead of having to like paddle and fight those waves going out.
Exactly. So it's all about like developing that connection, learning how it's all working, using the least amount of energy as possible at the same time, like,
yeah, dude,
like putting in the work it takes to, get to where you want, if you want to rip, you got to put in the time to get there. That's for sure. You
the reps.
Yeah, you got to put the reps in, you got to put the days in.
Yeah, man. And if you were, while you're so passionate about it, you probably would kept pushing through, but if someone would just been like throwing the idea like river surfing, I'd never seen anyone do it, and I got like spit out, I'd be like, I don't know if that's possible. But like, for you to like stick it out and like start making the craft, and that's kind of where I want to tie into like the design of a surfboard, man. Did you have any like background in that, or you just like figure it out?
Yeah, I just figured it out. Like, yeah, it was crazy. Like it literally was like, it wasn't something I tried to do. I didn't wake up one day and just be like, I'm going to make surfboards, It literally was like, I literally feel like I'm living like my destiny. Like this is like literally what I was put on like why I'm here on the planet, and like I said, looking back at my whole life, like going back to when I was a little kid and like being taught that, skateboarding was surfing on the street, and then that kind of set the path for, you know, turning everything in my life in the mountains into surfing, and then eventually like it actually turned into surfing.
Yeah, man, and then you're opening up the surfing world even more, you know, by doing river surfing, and then like Brennan's Wave, and also when I get to the project that you're working on, but and then like mountain surfing too, you know, like
the pow surfing.
The pow surfing, yeah, like which I mean that's still pretty small. I mean besides you, I don't know really too many people doing that.
So that's another thing with all this is like really it is like ahead of its times by, you know, like a long ways. You know?
It seems like it, dude.
But at the same time, it's all like been there. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy. It's just not what people are trained. You know, like you gotta like it's a mindset. You know, it's like it's a connection to the planet. I mean,
and all that, right?
Yeah. So like I said, I didn't wake up and just decide I was like gonna make surfboards one day. Like it's like literally like from the surf gods, man. Like and like I said, I was at the middle wave, and I had like his voice was just like, you know, you're the one doing it. You know, like we were selling a ton of paddle boards back then, and like they knew I was starting to just surf all the time, so they made me like a prototype board, and it had like the Strong Water logos and everything in it, and it was just like, whoa, this is sick, you know. And I got that in June. I sent that. I had rode that, and like the design kind of sucked, but it was cool, you know. It was like, for me at that time, I was just like, whoa, it was just cool to see the logos in it and whatnot. So I sent it back to him in October, and they ended up not doing anything with it. So January of that year, I talked to him again. What's up with that board, you know? And oh, we're not sure what we're gonna do with it, you know, blah blah blah. And you know, a month later is when I kind of had that moment where I was like, whoa, you know, like, you know, I'm the one doing this. Like, I'm literally like figuring this out, you know, like this was not even like thought of like is possible, like, you know, I'm literally figuring this out. So
my mind was blown like when you like were kind of first starting into it. I mean, you were pretty like established, I guess, probably by the time I figured it out. Like you're already shaping your own boards, but I was like, that is like the coolest shit ever, you know. Like
it's crazy. I mean, it's just like, I mean, thinking about it, just seems like it was always around, and like that's kind of a weird thing about it now for me too, is like it just seems to people like it just always existed, you know what I mean? And
because it's just like part of the culture in Missoula now.
It's part of the culture in Missoula, and
like Boise has one wave too,
yeah,
right?
like so like Boise, like Bend, like all over Colorado. There's waves everywhere now.
It seemed like it was popping.
I think Missoula's like the third one. It was never built for surfing or anything. It was like made for kayaking.
Oh, gosh.
And it just, like I said, it just is like, and even the way that like the wave is surfed, like I said, when we first started surfing, it was only at like certain levels.
Yeah.
And then it was, you know, and I had that voice go off, and I put in the time to go down there when I thought it was not good.
Yeah.
That it kind of changed everything, you know. Like I said, that's when and then at that same time I started making the boards. And honestly, that's like when river surfing became a thing, not just in Missoula, but around the world, really. Like Munich, Germany had a scene going, and then like Missoula was kind of like the first river scene, you know.
Yeah, it felt like the hub, at least to me, but that's my little world at the time, you know.
And I mean, that was crazy. It's just like one of the first surf communities for sure, you know. And you know, as the levels changed, you know, I was down there like trying to figure it out, you know. How am I gonna catch this wave, you know? How do you surf, how do you ride it, where are the sweets, you know, figuring it all out.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, that leads us all the way to today, you know. So like back then there was something to surf down there year round. Now the wave only works a couple months a year.
Oh, really?
And you can only surf down there like pretty much like May and June. It's like the only time the wave works now.
Oh, wow. And, just debris or something?
No, the river, like once they pulled that dam out, like the sediments kind of shifted, and then the wave kind of deteriorated a little bit in some places, you know, like the middle feature. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's just hard for people to, like, if they're not down there and connected to it, they don't really know, like, what's happening, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't think the community really knows that it only works a couple months a year now. So
No, they don't.
it was kind of one of those things. As the shop closed, that was like one of the reasons, was the wave wasn't working anymore.
Oh.
And that didn't, I don't think that ever really got, that message just, I don't know.
No.
Like, Brendan's is a weird thing, not to go off on another subject here, but
That's what this is all about, man.
so Brendan's is it's a crazy thing because it's no man's land. So, like, how we were talking about Boise and Bend earlier, right?
Yeah.
So, like, their waves are run by, like, the city and the parks and recs, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
in Missoula, it's no man's land. So, like, the riverbed is the state, the banks is the Army Corps of Engineers, and Karis Park is the city of Missoula.
Yeah.
And the state's like, it ain't ours, you know.
Yeah.
The wave ain't ours, and the city's
Yeah.
like, it isn't ours, you know. And
Oh man.
and like, it's just, it's been rough because, like, on one hand the city pretends like it doesn't exist, and then on another hand they exploit the hell out of it.
I was gonna say they build like a park around it.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
but they've never done any, so, like I'm saying, this wave only works a couple months a year, and, you know, it is a huge stimulus to the local economy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it only works 2 months a year now. It went from 12 months to 2 months. You know, that's a big impact, right?
Huge, man.
And so, like, if you look at, like, Karis Park, they just spent millions of dollars to, like, redo that park.
Yeah.
They're about to spend millions to redo the bank. Well, if the wave doesn't work, nobody. I just did a story on my Instagram on this like a month ago. So, like, if the wave doesn't work, there's nobody in the park.
Yeah.
The wave is why people come to the park. They come there to watch the surfing. The
Yeah.
wave just looks cool. Everyone's down there, like, senior photos, wedding photos, you
Yeah.
know, like, business convention photos, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
like, even if no one's surfing it, it's just, like, got a good energy to it. It's just cool, you know, and
man.
it's good for the environment and the fish and the wildlife, everything connected to it.
Yeah, man.
And then I just can't quite understand how Missoula doesn't face its river, you know, and, like, they don't see the value in it, and they don't understand how, like, that simple concept is so, like, when somebody gets off the airplane in Missoula, they're here to see the river runs through it. They want to see people fishing, kayaking, surfing, outdoor recreation, you know,
man.
and specifically river recreation. I mean, the movie The River Runs Through It. I mean, it's that, like, this is not rocket science, right?
Yeah, man.
You know, and I'm involved with, you know, the block I live on downtown Missoula. It's getting redeveloped, you know, and the people that are, you know, the architects and designers behind it are from Florida.
Oh, geez.
And it's just crazy, you know, and they want to put, like, on the block I live on, they want to build, like, the new iconic building in Missoula. And I'm just, like, not necessarily against that stuff, but at the same time, the river is the iconic building of Missoula, right?
Oh, totally,
And
man.
they're not grasping it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the center of our community. You know how many other, you know, towns and communities wish they had a Clark Fork River running through its downtown, you know? And it's like,
Yeah. It's like if Bozeman had one, that would make Bozeman better, you know? Like,
and they would probably know what to do with it.
yeah, I agree, man.
But at the same time, like, I understand the industrial era, you know, I understand the dams and the agricultural structures and, you know, what, the logging and the mining and all of it. I'm not pointing fingers. Like, that was, like, the era and the times, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, you know, like, I'm not, like, some crazy environmentalist person or anything, you know? It's just common sense. I see it. I have a connection to the river, and I'm just like, the banks are made out of old cars, and
It's not a good place for kids to play
it's
right now.
it's not a good place for people to fish. It's not a good
Yeah.
place for, you know, people to float on tubes. It's not.
Yeah.
but at the same time, the city is just marketing the hell out of that stuff, right?
Yeah, there used to be a big billboard with a gal like with one of your boards.
Oh yeah, there's
Remember?
like every restaurant, like every like bank, doctor's office. It's all the airport, for example, where you pick up your luggage is shots of strong water and surfing. But
Yeah.
and that stuff's awesome, but it just all of a sudden when it's been like almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
And like nothing's been done, right? Like
Yeah.
for and I understand again, like it's like the city, the federal government, and the state, and like I go to these meetings, and it's just hard to get anyone to cooperate and to like get very far, when it comes to that. But at the same time, where there's a will, there's a way, and it starts with a connection.
Yeah, man.
And that's what I'm seeing is like the people, in political positions just don't have a connection to the river. And
yeah, man.
like,
well,
if you don't use it, then you don't have that connection.
Yeah. Yeah, totally,
and,
man. You get too busy doing whatever, you're doing with your life, but
yeah. And I mean, who knows, man? I don't know, like, what the future for sure. I mean, I got all kinds of, things. I'm trying to get some waves built and whatnot in town.
That
hopefully it's gonna happen. I mean, I feel like it's gonna happen. I feel like it's gotta happen at this point.
Man, yeah.
But it's been frustrating.
I bet, dude. Yeah, there's a ton of folks I talk to that are, getting in the surfing scene, like younger, generation, like kind of below us, So it's like,
yeah, I've mentored like tons of kids, that's a huge part of it for me, and that's something that's, with the wave only working 2 months a year, that aspect of it's kind of diminished,
especially like college kids want to make an investment on something to do, they're like,
well, yeah, I mean, we could have, there could be a class at the university, there could be a surf team at this university, there could be, a rec class, all kinds of things, and it's like,
and just like a good break from class, man. It's like right there in town. It'd be so easy,
Yeah. And the thing is like it's already proven itself. I mean, they've got the like statistics. They got the like amount of dollars it brings into the community every year. They got the amount of events.
Yeah. And what about like mental health and physical health?
So that's Yep. So that's something I'm kind of working on with these waves, and that was actually what I was working on today before I came here. I'm looking at starting something like some type of an organization that's kind of focused on basically let's see, how do I so basically enhancement, recreational and community health enhancement through recreation.
Oh yeah, I like it.
So recreational and community health enhancement through recreation.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So like
totally
it's all tied together. So like for me, it started with the surfing, and that passion for surfing like developed that connection for the river.
Yeah, dude.
And then that connection for the river made me want to like take care of the river.
Try some tea.
I'm good actually. Thank you.
All right, I got some hot tea if you want some.
All right.
But sorry to cut you
off.
off.
Yeah,
the
no
connection,
worries. No
connection
worries.
to the river, like all that, man. Like, yeah. Dude.
So like I said, started with surfing. Surfing led to the connection with the river, and then wanting to take care of it. Being a steward of the river.
Yeah.
And it mentoring the kids and all that is like just it's environmental health. So like putting basically Brennan's Wave brought health to the river, the environment. It's like the hottest fishing spot in town. Like bald eagles are flying around downtown, ducks lay eggs on those islands, the geese are laying eggs on the islands.
Yeah.
So it's just a positive thing for environmental health, and then it's a positive thing for like overall community health, youth, families, and
like social,
social, and then it has the economic impact as well, whether you use the river or not, it benefits the whole community, like
yeah, man.
If you've got a business on the other side of town, a hotel or a gas station, whatever it is, dude, heads and beds, all that stuff like adds up, and another positive thing it does is it brings a lot of positive press
Yeah, totally.
to the community, and kind
what
of
I was gonna
puts
say.
it on the map, and just kind of like that's the type of stories that people want to hear.
Yeah. Well, and then that like it plants a seed in the community of more like positivity, happiness, and health. Because like people are out there being active and social, and Karis Park is good for that.
Well,
Like, but it's dying because of the wave a little bit.
Yep, and kind of what I was going at there too. So like that community aspect. So like Brennan's Wave, like it changed the culture down in Karis Park, right?
Yeah,
It changed
dude.
the we created a culture here in Missoula. Not only did we create a culture, it changed the culture.
Yeah.
Like it's a much better, safer area down there, right? So like that's another thing. Like I see the river, right? So like it's almost like a law of the universe. You have to like be grateful for it and take care of it in order for things to thrive in your community. So like
Yeah.
we have a huge homeless problem here in the river corridor in downtown Missoula.
Yeah.
So I live right in it, in the middle of it. And what they're not understanding again is the environment is what is like the source of the problem, right? If you change the environment, I think it will simply cut like that issue in half.
Yeah.
Because the environment is conducive to it, right? You're providing an environment that like we all live here for, the being outside, and like if you're homeless, like you want to camp out and sleep on the river downtown if possible,
Yeah.
And this is like I don't even have so much a problem with that. It's just like the bushes and the drugs and the needles that I find every day, and like if I don't have kids personally, but I had a girlfriend with some kids that lived with me at one point, and it's just it's like kids can't go, kids can't be kids. Like it's just like sketchy. Like they're unaware. Like the homeless people are unaware of like that there's kids around even. It's like they're literally like running it. Chasing business away from town, chasing students away from the university. Like
man.
Basically chasing everybody away, right? So like you simply change the environment, and like by doing you created basically you just put in a wave and it does it all, and it like slowly everything will change and get nicer around it.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden you've got people down there recreating, surfing,
who care about it.
You're building that connection, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just like you got families down there, people jogging, and all of a sudden the bushes aren't so thick anymore, and like it just changes the whole culture, and
because it is hard, man, to run on either side of the river, especially like up by the Kim Williams, man, and like be relaxed. I know like some longer runs I've done, like we're down, by like Lafray River Road area, down past campus, past Kim Williams, and by the time I get up there, I'm a pretty good in shape dude and pretty strong fella, for my size, and like I'm not relaxed when I run through that corridor because of like you said, all the homeless population and like sketchy stuff going on, man.
A lot of sketchy stuff. I mean, I've been living down there for 13 years. I've seen it all, like shootings, stabbings. Like it is gnarly. Like I mean, that's like for sure weekly.
Yeah.
I mean,
that sucks, dude.
It's crazy, and
we're such an active community in Missoula, man. Like you want to keep it a safe, a happy, like active community for everybody. Because I think, man, I mean, especially nowadays with all these fast food and stuff and like sedimentary lifestyles, like Missoula's got to be one of the healthier cities around, man. You know, because of that
active outdoor lifestyle.
Yeah, man, and I kind of want to tag on to what you were talking about, like. One of the big reasons why I started this podcast was like public lands and getting people like encouraged to go out and be in nature, and that includes like the wave and the rivers, man. And so it's like I want to give people more reason to get out there and do it. You know?
Yeah. So like that's kind of what I'm getting at is creating recreational opportunity, and then by doing that, you're gonna end up enhancing environmental health and then enhancing community health. Changing the culture in the community, and changing the culture, the way people kind of look at the environment, and
man.
And
I noticed even myself, man, like that was like part of my day, like in Missoula, if like me and the wife were downtown, it was like I'm gonna go do some shopping, wander around. We're gonna make sure we stop on like that observation deck they built, or like Higgins, and taking some surfers for a little bit, man,
Yeah.
and maybe spot you or something.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And like, I mean, there's a lot of people who do that, and it sucks that it only works a couple months now. And
Dude.
hopefully we'll be able to get in there, kind of tweak as they redo the banks. It's gonna tweak the wave anyway, so like it's like hopefully we can get in there and kind of fix the wave up to make it work and kind of design it to work at the flow the river's at most of the year.
Yeah.
So we have different waves that work and like spring runoff and things like that. It'd be nice to have one that worked, like this time of year,
Dude, yeah.
summertime when the water's a little bit lower,
Yeah, man. And like that idea that you had, I saw on your Instagram, and you told me and my brother about it years ago, dude. And like when we were at the gym, and it was kind of cool because I had an idea, but I didn't really know exactly what it was. But when you were taking your phone around on Instagram and like video, like the corridor kind of by Imagination Brewery, like where that would be kind of like the channel that would be
the ditch,
the main wave, right there.
The ditch wave.
Yeah, the ditch wave. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, this stuff's been out there for a while. Like that's why it's super easy for me to talk about this and hard because like I've literally been preaching it, like so like. I mean, it is like my realm, right? But
absolutely, dude.
But at the same time, I don't know, man. Hopefully we can make it happen.
Yeah, I hope so too. And communities need you, man. And like I wish my platform was a little bigger, for this like conversation, to get a little more folks. But
it's all right, man. It all works together, man. Hopefully we can help each other out, man.
Yeah, I think so too, dude. And just being able to surf year round is huge. Like, I think people would get into it more too because it's because in the winter, man, like some people don't feel like going up to the mountain. To the mountain, yeah, man.
Oh, it was huge. I mean, when the wave worked year round, like I've got photos and stuff. Or if you probably scroll back on my Instagram page and like find some pictures of it, it's like like 7 foot tall, like the ice formed on the river and melts, and like that island, like literally the ice was probably like 6 or 7 feet like tall, and like I mean, I've got pictures of like 20-30 surfers out there when it's like that.
Really?
So like when people see it, like that's the thing about the waves. So like we surf year round still, like that's what makes Missoula special is there's a bunch of natural waves like in the area. So, I'm still doing it, but you don't see it because it's not downtown. Yeah. So, like, that's why, like, the shop, all that work back in the day is because people walk over Higgins. It's like you were saying, you go down there to watch, like, people will be from out of town, whatever it is. They walk over the bridge, see the wave, and, like, it was accessible.
Yeah, and then the shop was almost like kind of behind you a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
and that goes full circle with what I was getting at earlier by when I was teaching kayaking at I wanted to make it accessible to people, and that was like the whole thing behind starting Strong Water was to make whitewater kayaking an accessible thing to the public. Yeah. But the tagline, like Strong Water, the surf shop for the mountains. We sold kayaks. It wasn't even surfing. Yeah. We had surfboards like in the corner, but we didn't like think of it. Like we were saying earlier, we didn't think of it.
Yeah. Where the name from, Strong Water?
So it's really cool, actually. So my buddy Luke and I, we go up to surf this. It's in the ocean, so it's like in an inlet. And when the tide comes in at a certain knots, it essentially is like a river, right? It's like because the tide's coming in so quick, and it's coming into a narrow inlet, right? Yeah. And so when the tide... So we'd go, it's up in Canada, up in BC, at a place called Skookumchuck is the name of the wave. Egmont, BC, the wave is called Skookumchuck. The word Skookumchuck means strong water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Strong water.
Strong water, yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah, so we were on a trip up there, and like, I'd kind of been like wanting to do a shop, and it was... Going back to our earlier conversation, I was working at Edge of the World, snowboards, skateboards, kayaks. I ended up, and then in the winters, I was managing Stumptown snowboards up at Big Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
And Whitefish. And then come back here in the springs. But then once Brennan's Wave was built, I was like, man, I got to just stay in Missoula. I can't leave.
Yeah, man.
And so I was Edge of the World full time, and then I ended up, like, buying the whitewater kayaking from him, and then opened up the shop just a couple doors down. But
Yeah.
anyway, we were on a trip up to that Skookumchuck wave, and then this is like right after we crossed the Canadian border back into the U.S. I just like had like I was like, Strongwater. That's it. That's the
Yeah.
name for the shop right there.
Dude, that's a great name, man.
Yeah.
I was like fired up just like when my brother was telling me about it.
Yeah.
And like for the longest time, I thought your last name was Strongwater. I was like, man, that's fucking cool. You know, like this guy's a river man, you know, water man, and his last name's Strongwater. It's fucking meant to be.
No, man, Strongwater comes from Skookumchuck Bay. Even that was like cool. It's got a story behind it, you know, which is cool.
Yeah.
And that's a one thing I was saying earlier with the surfboards, like I'm not trying to do any of this stuff. Like it just is like happened. You know what I mean? It's not like I took guitar lessons when I was a little kid, and the guitar instructor was like, I was like, I'm trying, you know. And he's like, that's what you're doing wrong. And I was like, what?
Oh.
And he's like, there's a difference between working hard and trying. If you're trying, you're doing something wrong.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And
It's a good point, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because like you ever notice like when you're trying like too hard, like you get rigid.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, you're doing something wrong. It shouldn't be that hard, right? Like you gotta put in the work. You know what I mean? There's a difference between working hard and trying.
Yeah, man. Well, and you notice like at least for me, like when I'm getting tired surfing, you know, like I'm like working hard, but I'm like slapping the water, and I'm like my form shit.
Exactly.
You know, like,
you're making it harder than it is.
Yeah,
You're
man.
trying instead of just letting it happen. You know? Just being in the moment or whatever. You know.
Yeah, and the, like kind of flow
And if you
state,
think
too.
about that, yeah. So like that's like my best surf sessions. They're like, you know, like I'm just in it. You know, I'm just in the moment, like so like focused. And then like I have other sessions where I'm like thinking about what I'm gonna like eat later or whatever. You know, you're just like not even. I'll like catch the wave and just be like, oh holy shit, I'm surfing. You know.
Yeah, man.
You know, so it's all.
That's
It's
so cool,
finding
dude.
that. It's finding that. That flow state, like you said, you know, and like being in that moment, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and like I kind of want to ask you about this too, man. Like, you surf probably more than anyone I for sure know, but anyone that I like am even
I
like.
surf more than most.
Yeah, like and like more than anyone I even like really know in social media stuff. I mean, I know like, you know, some folks that get out there a lot, you know, but like you, I mean, like the other day in Halloween, man, like that was super cool, man. I was watching your story on that. Like, that's a cold, rainy, snowy night, and you're out there, man, getting it. Like, is there, like, what's the drive, man? You know, just the love for it, or?
Yeah, man. I literally I can say I love it. Like it's crazy. Like that I don't even know.
Yeah,
Like it's like a again, like you know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to do anything. Like it's just I love it, and it's like it's literally like who I am. It literally is just like what
It's part of your
it
day,
is.
like,
It's
right?
like part of my. Yeah, I mean it's definitely my lifestyle, but it's also. I don't know if I can figure out the words for it right at this second.
No,
you
yeah,
know?
no,
Like
that's
it's
what makes it special, though, dude.
Yeah, it's
not be able to put your finger on it. You know?
Yeah, it's. I mean, you know, it's.
'Cause, you know, like other stuff, like a hobby. Most people's hobbies, like if it was like that, they'd be like, well, you know, I don't really need to surf tonight. I mean, it's kind of gnarly out there. But like for you, you're like, you're going no matter what, and you had a blast, man. Like the video looked amazing.
Yeah, no,
Jack-o'-lantern on the
it was nuts,
shore
dude.
there.
Like it's next level.
Yeah, man.
It's another world. Like that's the thing is like I guess like yeah, just the connection and the feeling, that comes from it. You know, is like I don't know. I can't even explain it at the same time.
And just on the outside looking in, it seems like it kind of bleeds over in everything else, right? Because you're passionate about surfing, and then like we were talking earlier about fitness, man. Like going to the gym every day and getting it in, and like and the health that you also like produce with your social media that way, you know. And I mean, you were kind of similar that way, like working out, getting some cardio in, and then and sauna too, you know. And I think those are huge. And it seems like, you know, like you're still hitting all those, and guys at our age, man, like. Are slowing down, and you don't seem to be slowing down at all, man, which is great.
No, man. Like,
You know?
I feel like I'm like 19 still. So like I'm surfing with like groms, you know, young kids. Like I don't even know, like 14, 15. I mean, I'm still like going, man. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, nobody can out surf me yet, man.
No, I noticed, man. You know,
Like no way.
yeah, it's so cool. And those little groms, man, they can really rip. Like,
Yeah, no, there's some rippers for sure, and there's been some rippers over the years, but I don't know, man. I like that's kind of the cool component, I guess, of surfing. Is so like I don't know. One thing is like one thought I have on it is there's not really any end to it. Like
yeah,
there's always a better wave, there's always a better session. You know what I mean? It's like there's always a next, right? Like I
Yeah.
think that's why like people like Kelly Slater, right? He's like I think he's 50.
yeah.
He's still competing,
It's
dude.
weird to think. Yeah,
Yeah, and
he's doing well.
Yeah, I mean he's probably done after this year, but as far as like the world tour or whatever, but still,
Yeah.
like I mean, dude, he's old enough, like past dad age on like the guys he's competing against, But I think like how he still has drive and everything. There's always the next, There's like
Yeah.
there's no. It's about being in the moment, but then when that moment's over, then it's about like just knowing that like there's gonna be another like
Yeah.
like every day I surf, it's always different too.
That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
So like it's never the same wave twice either, So it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I mean, they're like almost every time I go surfing, I'm like, that was like my best ride ever,
Yeah, and especially get decent. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
you're really good. But I mean, like for me, like being decent. Like when I first would go out, I'd have good days and bad days. Like some days where like I gotta catch one or two waves at least, to make my day. But now I'm
Well-
like catching more. It's like every session feels better than the last. So,
Yep.
like keeps me going.
Yep. But then you have some sessions. That's when you know you really love it. Is when you have like the bad sessions, and it's just like whatever.
Yeah, I'm still like loving being out
Yeah,
there.
it's just like whatever.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, just like in May tagged and just drinking a ton of salt water and just like, dude, my eyes be burning afterwards. But like I go back the next day.
But that's a part of it. So like, you have to like go through that, and then you gotta like kind of figure out the fun. So it's all about having fun. Like
Yeah.
that's my first thing I tell when I'm like teaching people to surf is the respect, and then like kind of that open mindset of like your only expectation should be to have fun.
Yeah. Good
And
point.
like if that's what it is, then and you're getting worked, and you just kind of like you're just kind of like, this sucks, but I'm like it's still kind of fun. I don't know. There's fun in it. I don't know. I know what you're talking about. Like just
Yeah.
getting smoked over and over and over, and in that like. I don't know. I've like caught myself just like all alone, just like
Yeah.
laughing at myself and just kind of like you gotta like embrace the suck sort of,
Yeah.
and then that's when it starts like clicking.
Yeah.
That's when you start like learning and progressing and
Definitely, man.
then like I said, you get to that point where like not every session is your best session, and like who cares.
Yeah, and like you said, even those bad ones can be fun. Like my little brother went to school in Southern California in Pomona, so he had access to like, he didn't go very much to Huntington Beach, but like Trestles and the Cove and a few other like the big breaks down there. And I remember I was out at Trestles and he was in class, and me and one of my best buddies were out there, and we surfed the day before, and we were trying out our wetsuits. Forgot our wetsuits, and it's like January, so and people don't realize, but that could be a cold day still in Southern California, and the
yeah.
Pacific's cold. So like I'm out there trunking it, and these little dudes come by, and they're like, "What? You are crazy. Where are you from? I'm like, Montana?" And they're like, "Damn, you're tough." I'm like, "No, it doesn't make me tough. I'm just dumb, and I forgot my sweatsuit." But like, I wasn't gonna turn back. Like,
Yeah.
I was there, man. I was gonna catch some waves.
You'll do that if you're from Montana.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I wasn't even thinking about it.
If you live down there, you won't maybe want to do that.
Yeah, man. And still caught some waves, man. Had a great day, and it was like rainy, and like kind of not a great day. Like, but there was no other surfers out there because it wasn't like a beautiful day.
Well,
Yeah.
so that's the thing. So like surfing is a trippy sport, man. So like it's you think of it, oh, surfing super progressive, it's really not. Like it's kind of like gets stuck in its waves and things this way, that way,
Yeah.
And so it's not like this super progressive thing. Where's I going with that?
Oh, we were talking about like bad weather and like how I was the only one out there surfing.
Yeah, so like that's another, so like it's super small, and so like Huntington, for example, like, I mean, really, you can count on your hands how many people are there in the parking lot every single day, no matter what the conditions. You know, how many people are in the water.
Yeah.
Out of all the people that live down there, you know, and then there's like the people that might surf just on the weekends, and then the people that come from inland like once a month, and then you know it's
Yeah.
like, but the guys that are actually doing it in every single day, you know, it's a small group of people.
It is, yeah. Cause that's a really good point. I didn't think about it till right now, but like Trestle's being a pretty popular spot down there. Like, I don't know if I really saw like a couple of, you know, like there was a few guys like you said, like I would say 3 that I ran into a few different occasions, and I'd only be down there like a couple times in the winter every year, you know, to visit my little brother. And there's like mostly like older guys. Like this one guy would like hang 5 or 10, like, and that's what, like, it was cool to see, man. He had this super long board, and seeing him like kind of do like the old man kind of surfing, you know, like working up and down the longboard and like hanging
cool.
10, you know. I was like, yeah, I mean that's what I wanted to see, you know.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it wasn't that many people, and then it could be kind of finicky too, man. Like they were all like territorial about it too, which was kind of bothering me, you know. Like they were right on the with like sidewalk chalk, like not from here, don't come here. And it's like, come on, man, like this is like public land, man. Everyone should be enjoying this, you know.
Yeah, no,
That's kinda
surfing.
frustrating.
Yeah, for sure. I see both sides of it. Like being a pioneer of the river surfing now, like I understand like why things are like that in the ocean, you know, and
Yeah, like territorial, like.
it just all comes down to respect again, you know, and
Yeah.
like it just got bad, you know, so people got weird or whatever you want to call it, you know. It got territorial, and it's a lot better now, but you know, I see how, you know, like unfortunately, like, you know, it's respect, and people just don't have a lot of respect anymore, you know. They don't, like, I don't know if it's like that social media
Oh yeah.
mentality, or you know, they're just like, they see it, they think they're, you know, just gonna like go do it or whatever, you know, but they're not like very aware of like where they are and what they're doing, and who's like, maybe like, you know, like I said, there's like those 10 guys that are there every day. You might not want to park in their parking spot, you know.
Yeah.
You might not want to, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like there's these,
they're working an area, maybe leave that alone, that, you know, that break or something.
yeah,
you know?
that peak or whatever it is. So like, and I mean, I just see how it's all, I mean, you also got to learn,
Yeah.
but
That,
part of that process, like, people want to skip that learning process in today's world, you know. And like, that's the thing, is like,
fast food.
yeah, you like might mess up, but learning's important, you know, and figuring it out. But if you can approach it like with just respect, and that'll give you the awareness.
Yeah.
If you have that mindset, then it'll naturally just like make you aware when you show up to somewhere like that, you know, of like,
like
what's going on and how things are working and things like that. And like, people will recognize that, and then instead of like people telling you to beat it, they're wanting to hang out.
Yeah, and coach you up. Yeah, my brother he helped me out with a little bit, because I was by myself, and well, I was with my folks in Hawaii, but you know, they weren't surfing, and I rented a board and went out by myself. And he's like, take a minute to sit on the beach and see like the order of things, how things are going, and like, and what they were doing is they were kind of lining up and like kind of first come first serve, and that person would go catch the wave, and the next person in line would go, and like the rookie mistake, and I almost made it, was like you cut everybody off and like catch this awesome wave.
Out, just,
yeah, and then people like get super mad at you,
and you stick out like a sore thumb to like the guys that are out there every single day, you know. And it's just like I said, I've like experienced that now here in the river, because like in the beginning it was super tight, you know. It was like just a small group of people, and everybody knew everybody. Camaraderie was high.
Yeah,
you know, it was like,
it's weird.
It was different, you know. Than now I don't like know who like most of the people are. I don't even like know who they are, you know.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, except I remember like, you know, like my brother would you know, pick your brain a bunch, and like it seemed like he knew a few folks, and you knew, like you said, everybody down there, and you guys could like talk about like if he drove over the bridge and saw like a certain board out there, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that's what's his name or what's her name, you know. And Like, that's super cool. And then, dude, so I want to talk to you about that. Do you have to go? I don't want to like keep you. You got
No,
stuff
man,
going
this
on.
is great.
All right, man. Yeah, I'll keep talking your ear off. But man, I've seen a ton of your boards, man. Like, well, I've known you, and then just like perusing your website and stuff, and then like that gal, had that one that you built for. Like, were you always artistic, or did that like just come with making boards?
Yeah, I've always kind of been artistic, or not. I've been artistic.
Yeah.
But I, like art class, like, I wasn't necessarily like into like painting,
Like
how
watercolors or
like, yeah, like, or whatever that they were trying to teach you. I was
Yeah.
kind of like just always wanted to do like my own thing, and so I never really like pursued art or anything because like I just didn't really see a way to do it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Nothing that really caught your interest, probably either, though, huh?
not to a point. I've drawn my whole life, but it was not like something I would like, whatever, like
Present to the world. Like.
yeah. It's just like I don't know,
Yeah. Because I like even like your logos, man. Like
yeah, like I drew all that, but yeah, like I've always done that kind. I mean, that like that logo. I drew that logo like, or like something real similar to it. Like I mean, shit, like 30 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something
And that's just
crazy.
Like, yeah, for people who don't know, it's just like the peak with the
mountain with the river and a wave.
Yeah,
surf the earth. So like that's my motto: surf the earth. So surf the snow. Snow melts into the rivers. Surf the rivers. Rivers flow the ocean. Surf the ocean.
Yeah, man.
And lakes too.
Yeah.
Wake surfing.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, what was that now?
So I was just picking your brain about the art.
Oh yeah, the art stuff.
Like,
yeah. So like, that was another. So like, that's a crazy thing. So like, another thing, I failed geometry 3 years in a row in high school. Like,
man, geometry's tough, bro.
Dude, I couldn't do it, man. I had a tutor. I still couldn't do it. Like, I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
It was tough, and I did good in math, like algebra, and then when it hit geometry, literally, like I think I got to geometry even like a year early or something, and then I like got stalled out there for literally like 3 years.
That's a lot of folks, man. Geometry is a different beast.
Yeah, and so anyway, I sucked at geometry, and art, wasn't like a huge thing.
Yeah,
and,
especially for high school kids, right?
But this voice went off in my head, and I was like, I literally could like see the boards already.
Oh, really?
But I had never like touched surfboard foam or nothing like it. I had no clue, man. I literally just like Googled like some stuff, found like some YouTube videos, and then I got some scrap roofing foam, got like the tools I needed, and like ended up making 3 pretty sick little surfboards out of this scrap roofing foam.
Oh, cool.
And that's when I wanted to like do that first before I like went all in, and like and anyway, I made these 3 sick little boards, and then that gave me the confidence, and then as I was like I was like making these boards, and I was like kind of just like, holy shit, like I can't even believe I'm like doing this,
Dude, yeah.
And
man. Like just creating something like from nothing, pretty much,
just from my mind at first, and
especially not having a model to go from either, just freehanding something at first, that'd be wild.
Yeah, it was, but so like I had ridden a bunch of different ocean boards, I'd ridden a bunch of paddle boards, ridden a bunch of kayaks.
Yeah.
So, I had the knowledge, how of the river, and then the knowledge of all those different boards and kayaks and all that. So like I was able to blend that all, I just knew. So like, and that's kind of what like gave me the insight of like how art works, right? So like a real artist, like say like Michelangelo or something, like, so like when he's painting the Sistine Chapel, he's not like just like winging it, he has that finished in his mind. He already sees it completed before he ever like touches a brush with paint on it to the ceiling.
That's a good point.
So like he's just doing it, right? Like it's like he's like possessed, right? He's just kind of like doing it. He's already seen it. Now he's just doing it. And if he didn't see it, then he might overwork it or he might underwork it because he doesn't really see it, right?
And it'd probably come through patchy, right? Because like he'd be like, you know, because if he didn't see the whole picture, you know, like at least in my brain works, it'd be like he'd have like this corner, and then be like, oh, but then I could go into this, and at least to me, I don't think.
And
it'd
maybe
flow,
there's
right?
sections that it was like that, but overall, like, you know, however, you know, it took him. I don't even know any history of it, but
me either.
Whatever it is, like, and it doesn't even have to be that. It could just be like a paint, like maybe something a smaller project, you know, like just a painting by a, you know, a good artist is like they already see that finished before they ever stick. They're not like making it up as they go, and they're not like questioning like their strokes as they're painting it.
Yeah,
they're just doing it because they got to get it what they see in their minds done. They got to get it done.
Yeah, it makes
what
sense,
they see in their head, so they know what strokes to make.
Yeah,
and that's how with my surfboards, right? Like I already seen them. Like the very first board I ever made out of that scrap foam, I saw it finished. And I made the same board 3 times in 3 different thicknesses.
Oh, really?
So like the same outline, same length, but different thicknesses.
Just kind of like for test running, see which one works best, like.
Yeah, kind of like, you could only make them so long because that foam, like the chunks were only so big, you know. So like the boards can only be so long.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a test to like play with volume and
mess with buoyancy there too,
to see how like short, thick, you know, and like play with like kind of figure out what that magic length might be if you were to make it bigger, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But just kind of experimenting with that, and then, you know, like I said, now going to like my first board, I already saw that board completely like done before I ever, you know, stuck a planer on it and started like, you know, shaping it. I already seen it complete, and like every board I have ever done is like that. And
that's pretty awesome, man. I don't think a lot of people's, I mean, like I guess probably artist brain to work like that, but that's not my brain, you know. So that's pretty cool to be able to have that, like.
Yeah, and it took me to like figure that, you know, like I think that's when you're like tapped in, you know, is like when you kind of have that, you're like, oh whoa, like.
Yeah.
Like that's how art works, you know. It's like an inspiration. It's a
you even hear like musicians talk about
is the same. Music's the same exact same thing.
Yeah, where like they almost feel like like a muse, or like a, you know, like they talk back in like Greek days, like a muse or something, like some kind of antenna got like switched on, and I heard, you know, like some folks talk about on podcasts, you know, like come up with these great songs, and like I don't even really know where it came from. It just goes like coming through me almost, you know. That's pretty wild. Yeah,
no, and this is like, I definitely like tapped into that realm of like, you know, hearing people talk about that, like with musicians and stuff, and being like, oh, whoa, yeah, this is like what they're talking about.
That's gotta be weird, because I mean, how many people on the earth do you think experience that, right? I mean, that's gotta be a small number, huh?
I don't know. Like, I mean, some people might, and they don't know. Some people, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. I mean, I guess it's kind of
just not aware of it. They're not even aware of it, like it, you know, like that they do it like that, or like that's how it's happening, or whatever, you know.
Yeah, man. And then, so you get the shape down, and then, I mean, like, dude, some of the colors and stuff, like, you know, I keep talking about that
paint,
one gal.
Well, that part of it's like endless. Yeah, that part of it is just like, yeah, that's endless.
So
that's just
cool,
like,
though.
yeah, it is, and like just surfboards, like in general, like
snowboards.
Like, all that stuff, like as far as the graphics and that aspect of it goes, yeah, it's absolutely, there's no end to it. Same thing with like materials, all that kind of stuff. It's like literally endless these days.
Dang, man.
But like more about like it's more about like the design and the actual shape of the boards than the graphics, you know. Like the graphics is fun as hell, but
you turn out some like works of art. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, like those are, like that part of it's cool. Like it's kind of like two different art, you know. Like surfboards are crazy, man. Like for how much they actually cost, I don't think there's any other product on the planet like I mean, surfboards should be like 2 to 3 times as much as they cost. Like,
Yeah.
for a quality,
'Cause you can
handmade board, like it's like there's a lot of craftsmanship that goes into making a surfboard,
yeah.
and like this is crazy. There's not good money in it, like there's not good margins, like how much it costs to make a surfboard and how much you sell it for. And, it's not a money maker.
Yeah, I bet, because of the time.
Yeah, the time and yeah, like I said, all the craftsmanship and stuff that goes into it, man, is like,
It's like tedious, huh?
oh yeah, and like, it's like, different like wait times for the drying of process, of like the fiberglass or whatever, and it's just like
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into making a board, and for how much they cost, it's not like when everything kind of went to China, it kind of screwed it all up a little bit, and then
Oh yeah, I bet, man. I didn't even know.
there's a lot of competition, like in California and places like that, like so many guys shaping boards and stuff. It just kind of like makes it just kind of like
Yeah, like
drives the price of it down, I guess,
yeah.
And
So for like small shop in like Missoula, it probably would be
well,
tough
and it's
to-
tough because like here, so like I used to make the board start to finish here,
Yeah.
but by the time you like pay to like ship all the materials here, make the thing start to finish, like you end up losing money, selling it to somebody here that doesn't know anything about surfboards, and you
Yeah.
kind of got to hold their hand through the process, and then like you end up like they don't know the boards don't come with fins, and then to feel good you end up giving them fins, and then like time the deal's
Yeah.
done, you lost $20,
Kinda I got nickel and dimed out of it.
yeah, man, it's just kind of like, oh man.
Yeah, and mostly just being a nice guy and trying to help advance the sport, So
Mhm.
that yeah,
No,
it's
that's all
tough.
part of it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's just not like it's not what people think, as
No,
far
man.
as like going back to like when I was saying like surfing is small, like the guys that do it every day, like the industry itself is super small as well.
True. Yeah, like it makes you wonder like how many people have boards like sit in the garage in Missoula even,
Mhm.
like that maybe they did do it for a while and then
Mhm.
just never stuck with it because life happens or whatever,
Like, I mean, like that's what I've seen. Even like I've been river surfing so long now. I've seen like waves of people come and go. Life happens, kids, marriage, all those sorts of things, and
Yeah,
like get kids off to call, all kinds of, you name it, and like people come and go.
yeah, and probably
And,
picking like what like what you gotta dedicate your time to, like for me, because me and Caleb, I think we're about to get really into the river wave, world with you,
Mhm.
and moving to Steve, I just like really made it kind of tough, and then
Tough.
like life and stuff happened, and
Yep.
yeah, it's man, but yeah, still wanting to get back into it, just gotta get a little more time and get the little one a little bit bigger and
Yeah, that's perfect though.
yeah,
Let's
because
get the kids into
that's
it.
what I was gonna
And,
say,
like,
get her
there's, like,
involved,
and there's a lot of that happening too,
Yeah.
and still a lot of that is still happening. Like a lot of like father sons out there, like
Yeah.
even like a lot of like mom sons and mom son daughter combos. Like a lot. I mean,
yeah, you
it's just
see
an
it.
awesome activity for like the whole family. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's literally a lifestyle, and I meant to touch on that earlier when we were talking about that, but
Yeah.
like it starts with the surfing, but then it is a lot of exercise, and if you stick with it, you do start noticing that you're getting in better shape, and then you can't wait to surf again tomorrow, and you want to feel good, so like you just kind of gravitate towards healthier eating stuff, and like health, like part of that lifestyle of surfing is health,
Yeah.
and so like that's the thing with surfing too, like you were saying earlier, like with it being a hobby, this and that, like it's literally a lifestyle. It not only like is it in the water, it's out of the water.
Yeah, man.
And
And it's like the life fluid for everything,
mhm,
like
yeah,
every mammal,
and it gives you a connection to the planet. It gives you like a purpose.
Yeah.
It gives you, like I said, a reason to eat healthy, take care of your body. It just kind of like makes you get in tune with gives you that connection to the planet, but it also gives you connection to yourself. And
Yeah, like some kind of grounding. And I wonder if like the compression of the water, you know, because like people like sleep better with compression.
Water's healing.
Yeah.
Oh, big time, man. Yeah, just the molecules of it. And
True, right? The soup of it, right? Because it's life, you know, like it's kind of saying like life water.
It starts with water. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, and I know you've noticed it probably more than anyone because you do it so much. But like for me, like just even like messing around with Brandon's wave or going out to, you know, Pacific Ocean, California, Hawaii, wherever, like, man, after just even a short session but a full good day of surfing, man, I feel like a new person, you know, like just after that day, you know.
Oh yeah, like that becomes literally like an addiction a little bit, you know, like that high that you get from it, I'm sure. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I literally surf almost every day. Like, I surf like 300 days a year. Like,
dude, that's awesome, man.
And but I have that, you know, like this fall's been a little bit like the lowest, like the waves. It's surfable, like out at the Albertson. Zero wave is surfable right now at Albertson Gorge, but it's not like the best, you know. So like I'm surfed less in this month than I probably ever.
Really?
Like I've been surfing like 3-4 days a week, you know, which is like not as much as normal,
but a lot for like most people.
You know, I've had a couple where I've missed like, you know, I don't know, like 6 days or something like that in a row, and I just like my skin, like I just got to get wet, you know, and like just be in that power of the water. And I think I can, like, how you can kind of relate to that, I think, is like, you know, all the wave pools that are being built right now, like the big inland push of surfing.
Yeah.
And I think like that's one thing, like the ocean and the river share in common, and that the wave pool is missing. So like the ocean and the river are both like, I think that's where like the soul of surfing comes from, that you hear, is that connection with Mother Nature, right? So like when you're in the river, like I was saying earlier, even downtown, Brennan's Wave, it's man-made, right? But it's enhanced the environment. Now you got bald eagles and like fish. So like as you're surfing, like a lot of times you'll see fish and stuff, but like there's a lot more going on that you don't see. So you're like submersed in that energy, and the energy of like, you know, the eagles flying around, all that. The ocean's the same thing, you know. You got the aquatic life, you know, the birds and everything out there,
the smell,
the smells,
the taste,
and all that, right? And that's where like kind of like that soul and that connection. And like I love all the waves. Like wave pools are sick too. Like love going to them, have a blast there as well. But it's missing that aspect.
I can see it, man.
That's, you know what I'm saying? It's more of like a, you know, it's a water park versus like the river. Like is like sometimes like a Brennan's can sort of feel water parky, but it's not.
Yeah, it's
like
still not,
obviously you gotta respect it, right? Like there could be a sinker log that comes through there that you can't see. Like Mother Nature's in control. You're never gonna win. Same with the ocean. Like you can get in the flow with it, but you're never gonna like beat it.
Yeah,
you can work with it, but you're not gonna like, you know.
Yeah, dude.
You know, you might get it for a second, but it's gonna come back, and you know, like it's like I said, it's about respect. And
it'll get you.
The wave pools are a little different.
Yeah, and it, like to me, you know, because I don't have as much experience, but to me, it's almost like, you know, I work for the Forest Service, so I'm in the hills all the time. So it's like stair climber versus going for a hike.
Exactly.
You know, like you stair climber, Jen, you're getting the same kind of workout, but like you're not getting the same feels. You know,
that's a perfect analogy.
It just hit me because I was on the stair climber today.
Yeah,
you know, so like
it's really perfect. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, like and even
so the wave pools are stair climbers.
Yeah, right. Because it's like this like controlled environment, like you said, man, and like. And, you know, you're not getting all the feels and all the input, man. Even like the visuals, man.
Yeah,
like,
it's like you can like perform your like get your like stride down in your pace down good on a stair climber, but it's
not getting out in nature.
You're not getting the same feeling.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
There's something missing, you know, and it's that connection to the Mother Nature and everything else.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I got a surfing story for you if you got a minute for it. It's not like I did anything cool, but so like I've been to Hawaii twice now, and Kauai was the island. First time I was there with my folks, and that's when I learned how to surf, and just like called up my brother, and I think I talked to you before and messed around with Brennan, so I kind of had like an idea in my brain of like how to catch a wave and like, you know, what to do, and etiquette, you know, like you were saying earlier, man. So and my brother kind of, you know, get me coached up on that, and I got out there, and it was a real gentle day, man. Like Honolulu, you know, goes out like forever, so like these really gentle like rollers, and so I kind of like saw some instructor push the people in some waves, and we got to watch what was going on, so I kind of just went off to the side and got myself on some stuff, and like really tiny but still fun, you know, blast. And so I think like a couple days later, I ran into Laird Hamilton at the gas station, and like it's amazing. I don't know if that many people really know about him as much anymore. I mean, he was on Rogan podcast, I think, once or twice. So I think he got kind of famous again. But like for folks our age, man, he was like,
he's a
legend, man. Big name in surfing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, like, I don't know if I'd even get really that starstruck with like a movie star, because it's like, oh yeah, you make cool movies, but like, it doesn't really apply to me. But like seeing someone who's like at the top of the surf world, like, I mean, like getting towed in, like he was one of the first people to get towed into a giant wave. And, like, that was just insane to me as a kid. And, like, now there he is, right?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that's sick.
Yeah, I'm carrying the pizza. And, like, you can see me staring at him. And I'm, like, trying not to, like, you know, get too awestruck. But I'm like, oh, my God, dude. And, like, my stepmom, like, takes the pizza and like, he kind of waves. And he's like, hey, how's it going? He comes around his truck and, like, come to greet me. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, this is fucking cool. So, like, I cruise over. And, like, I was like, hey, good to meet you. And I don't even know if I, like, said his name, but, like, I think he introduced himself to Laird. I was like, oh, Luke, you know, nice to meet you. And he's like, hey, tomorrow's going to be good. And what he's doing is he's filling up his jet ski gas cans. And I was like, you like, going to be out there? I was like, I think I might be now, you know? But then, like, I was on my family vacation with my folks, so we had, like, a botanical garden check out, which was really cool. But it was like, and there's no way. I mean, I was on, like, my second or third day ever surfing. So it was like, I would just been a liability out there, but like I still wanted to at least go like check it out, you know, and watch. But
pretty cool.
Yeah, so like I had that interaction with him, man. Such a nice guy, man. Like, and you know, like lived up to what I hoped he would be, you know. And then last year, I think it was last year. Yeah, I can't remember. Year before last year, me and the wife go out there and take a vacation, and it just opened up from COVID, so the island's pretty empty, right? And so we cruise up to Honolulu, and one of the first things we do, and I rent a board, and we go out, and all these little, like, groms are ripping it, like, right by the beach, and I'm like, I don't want to get run over by one of these little dudes, you know, like, you know, I'll just get in their way. So I saw, like, a break that was looking pretty good out there. So, like, I'm working my way out there, and all of a sudden I see a guy, like, on a foil working it, and I'm like, in my head, I know it's Laird, but I'm like, maybe it's not, you know, maybe it's just some local dude. But he's like, on a stand-up foil board, you know, is that the right term? Yeah, so it's awesome. So like I'm like sitting out there and I'm just like watching him and like trying to like catch my breath because I gotta paddle the waves. He's like, hey, gonna come catch this? I'm like, I don't want to be in your way, man. And he's like, dude, there's enough wave here for everybody, man, come on in, or something like that. So it's something super cool. And then so like we kind of half caught a wave together. I was only like stood up for like a second, and like a little bit. I kind of rode it and then fell off to the side, but it was like still like I like looking over at Laird, and like Laird's riding, you know, on the foil, like we're coming down the wave kind of like parallel. I'm like, this is so cool, and I fall.
Dude, that's sick.
But he was such a nice guy, man, and like I was like, yeah, man, sorry, you know, I'm from Montana, so I don't really get out to, you know, the ocean much, and you know, so and I just didn't want to be in your way. He's like, it's cool, you know, and he kind of.
He was like, you river surf?
That's what I was hoping he was going to say, man, because I'm like, because I was going to name drop you. I was like, yeah, well, my friend KB, you know, kind of coached me up a little bit, and he was just like kind of teach me how to like paddle. He gave me a few tips on like paddling and stuff, and like timing the wave and a few things. And I was so rusty, man, because I hadn't been on a wave in forever, so I'm not great, but I was like real bad that day. But such a nice dude. I've been meaning to tell you about it, but
that's real cool. Yeah. Yeah, I've actually met him a few times. Yeah,
really?
He's a cool guy, man.
That's cool, man. Just out in like California or in Hawaii, or?
Yep, I've met him in Hawaii, and I met him at a trade show in Salt Lake City at this reservoir, like a paddleboard demo deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like I don't know, a bunch of paddleboard contests, you know, like
man.
Bunch of fun games and stuff out there, and. I mean, he's huge, legend, you know.
Yeah, God.
Pioneer of like, you know, big waves and foil boards way before it wasn't even a foil board, you know. It was just it came from like an air chair. They were like taking the foils off of air chairs and like trying to like put them on surfboards, and then
really?
like had like ski boots on, you know, that were hooked to the boards. And
Yeah, I think I saw a video.
crazy.
With
Yeah,
that.
no, that stuff's like crazy. That's all stuff like, you know, I think everything's like energy, you know, and I think like, you know, watching those videos of those guys doing that stuff like kept me inspired to like keep chasing surfing the mountains.
Yeah, man.
Being innovative, you know what I mean? Just kind of like keep.
Totally.
You know, I've never like tried to be like Kelly Slater. I've never tried to be anybody but myself, but
Yeah.
I think like, I mean, I definitely knew who like Laird was and was like aware of like what he was doing, you know, in the ocean. And that stuff's super, you know, definitely been huge inspiration, you know, and, you know, I feel super grateful I've been able to like, you know, meet a ton of those. I surf with a ton of pro surfers, and like I said, the industry is small, and like honestly being, you know, kind of a pioneer of the river surfing has like opened a ton of doors for me, like
I bet.
In the ocean surf world, you know, just because I'm like the freak from the mountains, you know, surfing in the rivers or whatever, you know, and kind of, you know, with the social media and the vlogs and all that, you know, like, yeah, like a ton of pro surfers have been here to Montana and surfed in the river with me, and I've surfed with a ton of them in the ocean as well.
That's really cool, man. And I think, you know, proof in the, you know, saying proof is in the pudding, and I think it shows like you and Laird and these people who are like, not old, but getting up there in age, like Kelly Slater you were saying earlier, more like Kelly and Laird, I guess, you know, like that are older fellas, and they don't really look it, right?
Slowing down, yeah, they're not slowing down.
No, man, and they don't look like they still have like a good tone to their bodies, and they don't look
good, like good skin and like fit and like like you said, like muscle tone. They're not all saggy.
Yeah, all saggy, and their brain doesn't seem to be slowing down or anything at all. Like
my brain's slowing down.
I feel a little bit. Yeah, like my
body isn't, but my brain is.
Yeah, like my like.
I had a bad concussion, July, like early July this year.
Oh really? What happened?
I don't know if I want to like talk about it on here, but I just got in an accident. Like I actually broke my neck.
Oh whoa! I didn't even know, man.
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody.
Oh really?
Really, unless he caught me like at the gym or in the grocery store with my neck brace. It was one of those things where. I just was like, it's one of those life-changing moments, you know, where like the way the doctors and the nurses look at you, you know, and I was just like, man, I like that. I get in those moments like every handful of years, and I just was like, man, I'm just gonna like heal from this and come back stronger and like not like really like. Try not to tell anyone really. Like, I mean, my neighbors don't really know.
No, like, dude, I really kept her under wraps.
Yeah, I just kind of like, I didn't, you know what I mean? When you're that messed up, like, you just gotta put every ounce of your energy into healing, like, no distractions, like,
yeah, man.
Like, it's like I said, it's life change. It's literally like just healing from that stuff, spiritual, but like, you know, just I don't know, man. It's a trip because. Like I'm a feeler person. I'm a person that feels people's energy, things like that, you know. So like, people can like, oh, you know, like they can mean well and like give you bad energy.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel terrible for you. You broke your, you know, and you're just like, dude, like I'm good, like you know, like. It's not, their intentions are good, but the energy exchange is not.
No, yeah.
So, like, I just kind of, like, yeah, you just, when you're that messed up, you kind of got to isolate yourself a little bit. Just, like, I mean, I literally, like, spent, you know, all day for weeks just focused on healing and, like.
There's, like, big medicine in that, dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and again, like, I camped out at the river and, like, still got in the water. Like it's either that or like sit on the couch, eat junk food, watch TV, you know, that's what they tell you to do.
And give up pretty much.
Yeah, and then like take that neck brace off, not be able to hold your head up, that sort of thing, you know. And I was only out of the water 3 weeks. I was back in the gym in 1 week.
Oh, you're an animal. I think I remember you carrying a brace around the gym, but like you shrugged it off and I was like, huh. It must have tweaked it. That's all I thought, you know?
Yeah, I'll show you a picture.
Yeah. dude. Like, and that's a really good point, dude, about the energy exchange. Because you know, I had a pretty big surgery years ago for my Crohn's. You know, they'd take out a couple feet of my guts, and I remember like people like. And like you said, I think it's coming from a good place, but the way they tell you, it's like they give you a war story that sounds like horrible, like almost like you're not gonna be the same again, so get used to it. And you're like,
yeah.
like I know you're trying to be nice here, but like it's coming off bad. Oh my god, yeah, that's gnarly, bro.
Dude.
Holy cow, man, that's a hell of a gash in your forehead, dude.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah, you can still see it, right? It's clean. It's cleaned up pretty good. But I can definitely see it. It's almost like,
I got some right here by my eyes. I got a face tattoo now.
Yeah, dude. Like, natural tattoo. Dude, I gotta get a new like splinter.
Yeah,
here.
so it just that was gnarly.
Yeah, man.
That's what I look like.
Holy cow, dude. Yeah, the old right side of your face really took the old brunt of that one, huh, man? Jeez. You know, the thing is, too, if you weren't in shape, though, right?
Well, that's what they said. You know,
what would that have
I
been
was like
like?
millimeters away from being paralyzed or dead, and
Jeez, dude.
they were like, you know, if you weren't in the condition you're in, you know, that's probably the difference maker. But even the thing, it's just weird. Like, I mean, that's a whole podcast in itself, that whole thing, because. Look, I had no idea. I thought like my eye socket was broken and my foot was broken, but
Yeah.
I would have never. They could have been like, "Guess what's broken? We'll give you $1 million." I would have never guessed my neck, but
Yeah, dude.
but that's the thing is like necks are super weird because they're just like, well, some people can't even like walk, and so like I fractured my actual vertebrae, C3, and then chipped the bottom right corner of it off, the front bottom right corner.
Jeez.
And
dude, so that's some damage to be able to do that to yourself, you know, like.
Yeah, whiplash.
Oh wow.
And yeah, man, it just is like I don't know, like I said, it's a mindset. And like luckily I wasn't in like a ton, I didn't have like a ton of pain from it, you know?
Yeah.
And like I don't remember anything. Like
Really?
zero memory.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's
So
nuts,
like
dude.
it's just like it's like it never happened, and then I didn't have pain or like a ton of, you know, nothing that I don't know if I know I have a huge pain tolerance.
Oh, must.
Sometimes I wonder, yeah, I'm like, do I feel pain?
Yeah. Like, I know my nerves are connected like they should
Yeah.
be. You know?
But that was another weird thing about it is it like I had to wear that neck brace for like 8 weeks, and then like literally like at the 8-week point was like the first time I could like feel. I remember I was like riding my bike across the intersection, the car revved its engine, I like whipped my neck real quick to like look for it.
Oh.
And this was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah,
you know?
you can feel it. Dang, dude.
But yeah, no, man, I got lucky on that one, but it's just one of those like you gotta just like be in tune with your body, and then just like focus on healing, put all your energy into that.
Yeah, man.
Try to be around good people, good energy, you know?
Yeah, it's huge, man. Like, that's more people I think need to hear that, especially with, like when something like that happens, you know, like I remember.
Well, people want to use it. I remember, so like 4 years ago, maybe I got like a staph infection in my kneecap, and I'd been down in California in like 6 months or something, and like it was like I've been back in Missoula for a day.
Yeah.
And then woke up one morning, my knee was swollen up huge. I was like, I don't remember bumping my knee, maybe. I don't know. I went to the gym, like tried riding the bike to loosen up. And then like I got like a super high fever.
Oh, shit.
Went to like a Now Care. They were like, you gotta go to the emergency room. Went to the emergency room. They were just like, or they didn't know the first day. And then like the next day I had to go back again because I was so sick. And
Oh, jeez, dude.
and they got my results like as I was there, and I had staph infection in my
Staph's
knee.
gnarly,
yeah,
man.
and then like they put me in a hospital room, and then like that night they were like, you're gonna be the first surgery the next day, the antibiotics aren't working, you know, like you're gonna lose your leg, all this stuff, you know, like if that don't work, you're gonna die in like a couple days. Like I was like, what?
Oh man, that's a lot to digest, eh?
Yeah, I'm like,
take in there.
and this was kind of like that same sort of a thing, you know. It's like I don't know, they're like those moments in life. It's like fight or flight kind of thing. Like both times I was like, could see how like people just like, if you don't have passion, you're checking out.
That's a good point, dude.
If you don't have passion, you're checking out. That's what it is. Like, I'm super grateful to have like the passion that I do have for surfing, because like it helps you get through, it gives you again a purpose and a reason to get through those like life altering moments like that, right? Like,
yeah, something to live for.
Surfing
right?
is so important to me that like it's important for me to like not tell anybody that I broke my neck and come back stronger than I was before it happened.
Yeah.
And
something about that, right? Like you said, to like retouching what you're saying, but like getting that out there, like you're injured, setback, and then like
yeah, if you hate your job and you get hurt, chances are you're gonna like try to use the injury to like not do your job or whatever, get out of it. You know what I mean?
Feel some pity, and then implant something.
And then if you don't have passion, you're all of a sudden you're drinking or drugs or pain pills or whatever. Probably chances are it's probably the pain pills or whatever the hot. Because like when I going to get both my knee and my neck, but like they put the neck brace on you and they're basically got tears in their eyes, and then the neck brace is basically a ticket. Get anything you want.
Yeah, totally.
As far as like drugs from pharmaceuticals or whatever, I've never been into any of that shit.
Yeah.
I'd rather feel the pain, because like I feel like if you can feel it, then you can visualize it, and then you can heal it.
Yeah, and
if you can't feel it, then like how do you heal it?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't even tell where. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you might grind more than you should, right? Like especially go-getters like us,
or not enough, or just sit wrong, or you know what I mean. It's important to feel it and like feel like what different lane or sit, different things are doing to it. The way,
I think for me with painkillers, dude, like I'm already kind of lazy and I'm fighting through it every day. So then, like painkillers make me feel more lazy, and I hate that feeling, because I hate the feeling of being lazy, and like my body, I can already feel like being like an excuse, like, man, let's just stay in today or something. It's like, nah, man, I want to go out there and enjoy life and have a new adventure.
Exactly. You got too much like passion to like kill it, to like want like
to go numb, from the painkillers, and just sit there and like soak into a couch, man. Like I
remember one time I took him. I lived when I first moved to Missoula. I lived with some football players from the university, and I remember it was like a Saturday. I had all these plans, like okay, I can do all this shit, and roommate gave me a painkiller, and I remember just like being stuck on the couch and just like still picturing like all the shit I wanted to do that day, but I couldn't do it. I was like trapped in my own body that couldn't move, and it was the worst thing. I was just like, this is the worst. Like, this is not like, how do people like this shit?
I know, that's the same thing, man. And
but it's what it is like, and that's what I try to like, like again, teaching like the Groms and stuff, mentoring the Groms back then was like, and that's what surfing does, is it creates passion.
Yeah,
and gives people a reason for basically everything in their life, like
man,
whatever it gives them more, gives them energy at their other job or in their relationships or whatever it is. If if everybody was like living with passion or living their passion, like the world would obviously be a better place. It's like when things get fucked up, it's like when you get a bunch of people that hate. Basically, it comes down, they hate their job and they hate this and their wife and this and that. But it turns out the real thing is like, it's like they hate their own life, and they don't have any passion, and they take it all out on
other people.
But passion is like huge. And another one is, telling the kids and all that, is like, I'm a super real person. Like, I've partied, like I've tried a lot of drugs and all that kind of stuff, but like my thing with like partying is like, I never did it to like, I would never was like, I have a shitty day today, I want to go party. I was always like, dude, that was so sick, and you just want to like keep that like good vibe and that good time going.
More like a celebration,
but at the same time, as I'm partying, I can't wait to go back tomorrow and do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like like tomorrow means more to me than like the partying at that moment. Even partying hard, I would be like, I can't wait to like go kayak or snowboard or surf or whatever it was
Yeah.
the next day more than anything.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing I wanted more than that, you know? So like
I thought,
if you have that passion, that'll help keep you, you know, grounded and like keep you like from getting addicted, you know what I mean? You got something that means so much that
yeah,
like you're not gonna like
burn out.
yeah, or get addicted to, you know, just substances basically.
Yeah, totally.
But it doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol. It could be food. It could be whatever. But
Whatever's slowing you down.
yeah,
Yeah, it makes good. Yeah, like, and
passion's huge.
yeah, my brain kind of works like that too, quite a bit. Because the first time I realized, I think I was 22, and I remember like went out and there was like a drink special somewhere like downtown Billings at like Hooligans or one of the bars that like was a college kind of party scene. And I remember like going out and having a good time, and like it felt like a good time. And then the next morning, dude, just like
Yeah, being hungover.
woke up by myself, man, and like I had roommates, but I don't know where they were. And I remember like dragging myself. I was in the basement, to drag myself up the stairs to the back porch, and just sitting there hungover, like too hungover to even like do anything to even like help myself feel better. And I was just like, what, man, this is horrible. Like,
Yeah.
I'm wasting this most beautiful day, and I had plans to go like
That's the worst feeling.
yeah, I had plans to go on this hike and go play some like golf and like just go to be active on that beautiful day. And then like I ate that day, and then the next day was school. So it was like the one day I had to really go out and enjoy and have a good time, I ruined it because of me being an idiot the night before,
Yeah.
So like that kind of got me on the channel of like not really wanting to drink. And then
Yeah.
Just-
But we see it the same, but like
Yeah.
think how many people out there don't have, they don't have that passion for the outdoors and fall, all the things you said you wanted to do that next day. They don't have that, like,
nothing to look forward to, right?
yeah. So like it's like they're just looking forward to that next drink or the next whatever, to like escape the like lack of passion, the lack of connection. They're trying to fill it with other things.
Yeah, man, that's really well put, dude. Yeah, I think it's probably a good spot to like wrap this up. But like,
yeah, oh yeah, I could talk all night, dude. I don't even feel like we scratched the surface.
I don't
Like,
think
I've
so.
kind of been all over the place a little bit, but
yeah, well, in my brain too, because like in my my head, like when I was getting ready to do this, I was like thinking about all this stuff. I'm like, all right, man, I want to make sure I ask KB about this, and like this is really cool.
yeah, no, we could do a part two for sure. Cause like we really, yeah. I mean, I don't, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot left on the table.
There's a lot on the table.
Yeah, but like I think this is a good ending of like just like feeling good and doing stuff and finding that passion and man, I was thinking about something. Oh, and like that's where like social media kind of gets a bad rep, which it can. Like you can go down these rabbit holes and like the death scroll that you hear about, where you just like get stuck scrolling. But like if you have like people like you, man, like you're an inspiration, and like I'm trying to be myself. Like when you go and look. Like the other, you had a throwback picture, from like a couple winters ago, or maybe last winter, where you're like surfing the POW, and then you got like just like a barrel fire on the side of the highway, man. Like you got your truck in the background, strong water stuff on it, man, and you and another guy, just like there's no one else out there, man. It's just you and him in this beautiful natural world, like enjoying the day that where most people are probably cooped up in their house, because they don't want to go outside because it's cold,
Mm-hmm. And you got to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing is, like, I definitely, I'm driven because, it's like, when I had the shop, I went to the gym, like, 6, 7 in the morning, had the shop open by 10, worked till 6, 7, and then went to the river after that every single day for 10 years.
Yeah, I remember, dude.
And, like most people, like pretty much every night when I got off work, I remember saying to myself, like, yeah, most people are going home right now. Like they would say, screw it, or like same with the gym or get up in the morning. But that's what I feel like they should teach passion, because like that's the same. I feel like with the gym too. It was like, I was telling this to a trainer last week at the gym, was just like, he had his notepad out and doing all the like numbers and everything, and I'm just like, that was great, but I feel like trainers need to teach people just to like have fun at the gym and like want to come to the gym. So it creates like, I mean, I've been a gym rat my whole life. Like I just like weights, lifting weights, like
same, dude.
The environment and like all of it.
Yeah.
And like it's like fun, and it's like I'll always do it. And I think that's what people need to be taught, that side of it, rather than like body image. Like if you just go to the gym and it's just part of your lifestyle, like the body image and like all that stuff is just like part of the game, you know, like that just comes with doing it.
Yeah.
And
man.
like people just don't want to like do it. You got to do it, you know. They want, again, it goes that instant gratitude. The gym's a perfect example, just like surfing. It takes work.
It does, man.
It's not gonna happen overnight. Like you gotta go. It's gotta be. It's gotta become. If you want to rip, if you want to get like, you know, certain level of fitness or a certain level of, you know, ability of surfing, you gotta, the energy you put into it, it's gotta equal that.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's yeah, that's a good point, dude. I think it's probably a good place to wrap it
Yeah,
up,
man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks,
Awesome,
KB, man. And
no, that was super fun, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. This was really cool.
dude, thanks for coming out. Hey, blast out that social media real quick, man, so that people can find you.
Yeah, no, yeah, KB Shreds and Strongwater Surf. There'll be more stuff coming here soon as well.
Yeah,
Working
Instagram
on
and
some new stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
so
cool.
KB Shreds on Instagram, and for the boards and stuff, Strongwater Surf on Instagram. And then strongwatersurfboards.com is a website.
Cool, get some gear and stuff,
Get some
right?
gear, got t-shirts and hoodies and
Yeah, man.
beanies, all the stuff you need for this time of year. And
Yeah, check out some of those hoodies and beanies, man, and like those
Yeah.
logos too. So for
yeah,
anyone,
super
tuning
cool
in.
stuff, man. And
yeah. Thanks again, and thanks for anybody else who might be tuning in. And please like and subscribe.
awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thank you.